He can't pursue me if I used Kala.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I am recording, so if there's something that you don't want put out, don't do it. So
I don't care.
what we're doing here is I'm going to go over the basics of shot calling, and there's first of all for every training that I do, there's multiple ways to do it. So I'm just going to teach you my way and what I found successful. Almost everything I've done and things that I'll teach are based off of experience. So and 90% of the way that I know how to, or the way I do things is because I've messed up and I've learned from it. So as I said before, I've been playing since beta. I do a lot of shot calling, uh, and if there's a mistake out there to be made, I've probably already made it, and that's how I learned. The easiest way for me to learn is to learn what not to do by doing the wrong thing. So wow, this is taking forever.
Quickest way to
I was
learn.
gonna say the easiest mistake is rolling off of a siege tower while you're fighting on it. Not fun.
Oh
Or
Christ.
rolling off the wall. Don't know how many times I've done that.
All right, and in the share, you guys can't see my mouse, correct?
Yep, you're all good.
Okay, so at the bottom right, that's the mini map. So when we go north, south, east, and west, that is what we're basing it off of. If you notice, sometimes when you hit tab, it matches up. Tab brings up a quick, bigger version of it. And there's also another button that I'm sure most people know, and that's Z.
Yep.
And that brings up the sky view. And if you look at the sky view, that's completely different from the layout of the tab view, isn't it? Because if you look, they're up, and if you look where I'm facing, see what I'm saying? It's a different angle. So that's one of the. Careful, my troops might kill you. Sorry.
They did. Carry on.
So that's one thing to remember. Always give your directions off of the mini map, because 90% of the players don't use Z, especially in the field of battle when there's a shot caller. If you can mute your mics, also that would help. Just if you got questions, you can unmute them and ask questions. We'll keep it pretty informal. So if you'll notice, the Z and the tab or the mini map are different orientations. Make sure that you call directions off of. So for example, you'll see that she is capping the southern supply point. So first thing I'm going to do is go over click commands. I just went over tab and Z. So another quick and easy way to ping is right clicking. I can put warning and all the other stuff. Pretty much warning is all I use. Occasionally I'll do go here if I'm doing multiple commands. For example, let's say I had a 15 stack with me. I could say person 1, 2, and 3, I need you to go to the supply point, and I may do ping here. And I need you people to watch out, and they're building siege here, and go kill that siege. So that might be something that I do. But generally speaking, I just use the alert ping, the exclamation point.
Just want to point out to a couple people who might not know it. You do have to hold the right click when you're choosing those four options
That's actually
for
a really
pinging
good
the
point.
point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of times, the game is pretty buggy with this. When you mouse over and it turns yellow, it's supposed to work. It doesn't always work. For example, you'll see I moused over their home point, the enemy home point, and I'll go here. Well, it worked fine. But sometimes it doesn't. If it doesn't, what I do is I will go right next to it and just do that. It's supposed to work every time, and it gives a specific, say, pay attention to supply point or whatever. It gives whatever you're clicking on, a home point or capture point or whatever, A, B, and C in regular battles. Obviously, this is the purpose of this training is for territory war, but it does work in sieges and whatnot. So if you'll notice, I cannot see her right now, and that's because she doesn't show up on my map, and that's because this is one of the things that I think a lot of people don't understand is that is based off of line of sight. Somebody on your team has to have line of sight of the enemy. So I haven't moved. If you can come into line of sight. And then Zuzaku, if you're bringing in a ranged unit, make sure you hit 5 so that they're not using, they don't shoot her when she comes near us.
I don't even have a unit.
Okay.
I'm going in naked.
Okay.
I was gonna say I can hop in on Kayla in defense if you need extra body just to work with.
I'm on my way.
It's fine. So she'll come into range when she gets into range. She can use, but you can also use this as far as your strategy. For example, especially on this map. Now you can see it. Now run over that hill behind you, please. And here in a minute, you'll. Oh, you can't.
No, I'm stuck.
Can't go back up. Hey.
So as soon as she rounds that corner, you'll notice she'll drop off. Bam, she's gone. She's not on my mini map or on this because now when our little friendly dual blade goes over there and puts her, now she'll show up. See how she shows up. So this is really important on a defense of a castle or something with walls, because even though there's nobody over there on the far, for example, east or west side, you want at least one person on that wall so that you can see, because they could be moving units over there. You could have all the dual blade ninja stuff and stuff like that. And speaking of dual blades, whenever a dual blade goes stealth, you drop off the mini map and all the other maps too, the Z and everything else. Can somebody tell Soldier where the training is, please? Thank you. All right, any questions so far?
I'm in the. I'm in it with you guys right
Oh,
now. I'm
awesome.
just wondering.
I
like,
have a
if y'all are
general.
grouped in an area.
I have a general question.
Go ahead.
So for dual blades, do both all? You said all invisibilities work. That's correct, right? For like disappearing, but do they have to? What is the meter to be able to see a enemy, even if they're not cloaked? Like so,
You have
like
to
what
have
is
line of
this?
sight of them.
You just
Oh,
need
okay.
That's
line
what I
of
was just
sight.
talking about. Yep.
Okay, so does it have to be like even if they're behind you and you're looking forward, if they're still within
No,
your range, you can still see them, or do you actually have to be staring at them?
No, you have radar. Just line of sight.
Okay.
You don't have to be looking.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Now,
I didn't know. I just
Your radar is a little bit further out in the forward direction. It's not a perfect circle. It's a oval, kind of leaning out more towards the front of you. But yes, that was a good question. So that's basically the click commands that you use, and that's pretty much all they have in game. Since nobody has questions over that, I'm going to go over positions and how to rotate and how momentum works. And so, for example, if we're being attacked, I'm the blue team, obviously. They just took that supply point over there, the southern one that I have yellowed out right now. So what I want to do is I need to push out and start. Obviously, we need to get their point. So what I might do is I might send people over to start capturing that point. So if the people go over to capture that point, then they will go react to it. And what I'm trying to get them to do is to overreact. So I'll send 3 or 4 people and I'll try to get them to pull 6. Because if I can pull 6 with 4, that means I have an advantage somewhere else, and then I can push forward to take that one that's getting taken right now. Or go on to the home point in this particular case. But if you would imagine, a territory war where there's an X, that would be more representative. Does anybody got questions or about that particular part? In rotating
the rotating though. So is it a fake rotate or is it like a full rotate? Like,
both.
what should we be doing? Okay, so it's a fake rotate, full rotate.
Both. Both.
Okay.
So you don't, as much as you want to, you don't always get to dictate what you do. Your enemy does. So if they have for example, let's say I would really wanted to take this point, but they have 7 people there. I'm not going to waste time doing that. I'm gonna put 3 people over there to keep them from coming in behind us, and then I'm gonna push heavy where I want them to be. Anytime they're masked up, there's an opportunity that they're not masked up, and that's where you need to be. You need to keep just enough people there to keep those 7 people tied up, or however many their mass is.
Yeah.
So that you can go forward.
So pay attention to your surroundings, is what you're saying.
Yes.
So and what you were suggesting is a bait play as well, where like you might send a small group of people to their least defended position in order to hopefully pull more of their people off the key zone, which you would then push.
Exactly.
Kind of just like a real-time strategy play that would very much so depend on the enemy responding in the way that you want it.
And the best pushes are real pushes. even if they are fake pushes, and that's a little confusing. And I don't want to get too much into like the advanced techniques or something like that. For example, if I know they have 3 people over here defending a point, I'm going to send 3 people at them. That way they're hard pressed and they're going to panic. And I might even send a 4th so that they start calling for extra, like, oh, we're getting overrun over here. So even though that's not my intent to actually push in at that point, if they don't cover it, I am going to get in on that point. So if they don't rotate, I will get in on that point. And then if they do rotate, which is what I wanted them to do, I can pull and extract maybe 1 of the 2 of those people and swing it. So that's about positioning and rotations. And then the other thing is momentum. So again, going to this map here. Actually, I think it's better with the tabs, so I'm going to go here. So let's say, for example, we took this southern one down here that I have yellow now. We just balled up and we pushed forward and we took it and we did a good job. So the next thing is, now the next point, logical step would be for us to push to this one, the middle supply point. So what we would do is, we just took this one. So what we need to do now is keep that momentum, because the longer we wait, the more they can get set up there, the more they can set up their siege equipment and things like that nature. So you want to be aggressive as soon as you win a point, because that can snowball. I mean, how many times have we've all been in battles where one thing went wrong and it just collapsed, and you end up losing 2 or 3 points in a siege, or the territory war they just swarm home. So that's the other thing about momentum. The most important thing, here's the 2 most important things for any kind of shot caller, in my opinion. And that is, if you're going to be the shot caller, call the shot. Even if you're wrong, it doesn't matter. Because if they're good, your team is good, you're probably going to win, even if they're going to give you some slop with your shot calling. And if you're not good, then you need to learn to get better. So if you're standing there like, I'm not sure what we should do, then your whole team doesn't know what to do. Whereas if you say, hey, I know what to do, we're going to do this. And even if it's the wrong thing that you do, you're going to get experience doing it, and you're not going to make that mistake the next time you're shot calling. So the most important thing you can do is call something. It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong, call it. And then as you get better as a shot caller, your calls are going to get better, because you're going to say, hey, that was a mistake last time I tried to take that supply point first, or I only sent with 4 people, or whatever the mistake was. It's important to make those mistakes. I know it sounds counterproductive, but especially as a new player, the worst thing you could do is like, maybe go do this and be tentative, because if you are, that's just 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 more battles you're going to have to do being tentative before you finally really get in there and learn. Whereas if you go in there and say, hey, this is the call, oh, damn, that was a bad call, I should have done this. Bam, you just learned, and now you're a better shot caller. Whereas if you're kind of tentatively and maybe you get some wins, or maybe you don't lose, instead of winning, trying to win, you try not to lose, your progression will be a lot slower. So that's my first thing, is make a call. Doesn't matter what it is. Ideally, you want to win and make the right call, but making the wrong call is better than hesitating and not making the call. The next best thing I can tell you to do is keep it as a rule of 3. If you have more than 3 strategies to your plan, it sucks. It doesn't suck, but it's not realistic. This is a video game. 90% of the people here play for fun, to have fun and win and swing their sword or shoot their bow or whatever they're doing and fun. They're not going to sit down here and 3 hours before territory war, they're going to draw a big map and plan out. Now, as you get going and you get better with your team, you can compound on that. For example, using the tab menu again, I wanted to get, we'll go to my unit back here. So I have a pike militia here. It's my favorite unit I like to bring out. So if I'm going to attack pike militia, everybody should know that you don't attack pike militia from the front. So I need to come from the sides. Well, the beauty about pike militia is how fast they can brace in any direction they want to. So to guarantee that you're going to get pike militia, I've got Zizaku on my team, so Zizaku and I are going to work together, and we're going to hit these pike militia from different angles, called cross-charging, so that the pike militia are definitely down. So now that's one thing. So Zizaku and I are going to cross-charge. So that's one plan. And then there's 2 more things I can do for my list of 3. For example, let's say they had a shield wall there and I need something else to get through it. They have the flamethrower guys and I need a range to fire through it or a hero to dive. Whatever tactic I want to come up with, that's 3 plans. That's the big push. And then you stop and you reset and you make another 3 plans once that's done. Now,
Palamir, if you want me to simulate a cross charge, I have cavalry. I can.
no,
I
thank
don't
you.
mind.
No, thank you. We're good.
Okay. Okay.
I'm just going for the grand scheme, not the specifics. It doesn't really matter
okay.
It doesn't really matter
Okay.
what your plan is. So if I say, hey, we're going to do 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, wait, was I supposed to do 4 or was he doing 4? Just keep it at 3. And then once you get good at it, and we've, like, for example, we called bunker busting, and what we would, that's where you've got pikes, you've got, the enemy has pikes, they have their range, they have their shields, all that stuff, and you got to go in there and bust the bunker. And we had strategies that we did it, and it had multiple steps. But once we got good at it and we did it 3 or 4 times, those 3 steps to bunker busting, we shortened down to 1 step. Like, hey, you, and you are going to be the bunker busters. Okay, bam, that's done. And then that's 1 step. And then now we're going to, you are going to charge forward, and that's step 2. And then you guys are going to climb the wall and do the other thing. Whatever. So as you get better and more experience with people, you're still only giving 3 commands. Whereas if I gave a detailed description of bunker busting, it would involve 3 separate commands, and that's all we're going to focus on. Once we get good and we've done it together and we've got people who can do it, then you can say bunker bust, and that 3 commands becomes 1 command. And that's how you get more advanced as you shot call. So those are my 2 biggest things for any shot callers. If you take nothing from this training, only give 3 commands, and give a shot call. Those are the 2 best things I think that that new people into shot calling struggle with. Now we're going to go into the next step, and that's communications and name calling. So, for example, I know that I have Zizaku on my team, and I need somebody to go to this supply point. I will say, Zizaku, go to this supply point. And then Zizaku knows exactly where he needs to be. I could say, Joker, go here. I mean, Joker's on the other team in this particular instance, but you get my point. Do this. One of the best things that you can do is, for example, let's say I'm up on a wall struggling. I could say, Zizaku, go help Talamir on the wall. Actually, that would be a bad one because I didn't give a cardinal direction. The west wall. So now Zizaku knows he's going to go up there and he's going to look for me and help me out. So that's communications and name calling, specifically name calling. But communications is you want to give a recipient, a command, and a destination. So, for example, I just gave Zizaku, help Talamir on the west wall. So you're going to go help Talamir. So you're going to go see what I need up there. Usually just you and your unit. And then where to be. Any questions over any of that stuff? The 2 big things I said, and then the communications or name calling?
Okay, so for name calling specifically, how, like, with everybody talking over each other, how accurate is it to, like, I understand, people get mixed up and stuff like that, but for more of the West Wall, should there be I don't know if it'd be easier for the new people, the shot calling, to say tab West, tab East. I don't know if that'd be easier.
Always,
like,
always do the mini map. That way you don't have to hit tab. And tab is another word.
Yeah, fair
You're
enough.
always referring to the mini map because everybody can look down. You can look down without doing anything.
But with the mini map being reversed when you're attacking and defending, it can be confusing sometimes.
If you're on my team, you're gonna have the same mini map as me.
Yeah,
I feel like
fair enough.
asking people to tab too is just going to be confusing to new people anyways, because you're asking them to do another command. Maybe like they might construe it that way, right? I feel like keep it simple, stupid, you know?
Yep. So everything is off the mini map because everybody has the same mini map. And when
you'll see the ping.
Yep. Sometimes I again, when I started this, I say people do things differently. I don't ping a lot because I do a lot of not in combat, so I do strategist mode a lot. just because I've done all the battles, so I don't care if I get into a battle. But so I'll do a lot of my shot calling from here, and I do some pings from the Z menu, but not all.
So what is Z mode? Can you explain that a little more for the new people?
Just hit Z.
Oh, I'm
it.
talking about like strategist mode.
That's it.
What is that?
Strategist
Oh,
mode is
You touch D on the keyboard.
Oh, really?
yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it literally is. You can cap if you guys want. We start our 2-minute timer.
Yeah. Suzaku needs to get off though.
So
Nah.
the other thing that I recommend, and this is actually something. So I used to give training. I gave shot caller training before. I had shot callers from other houses, even houses we were going against. Sater was one of them, who's one of the shot callers for Thoys. One of the ones for Defiance at the time was, and I had Sky Ops to go help out. And one of the things I learned from them was recording your fights. So I don't really do it so much anymore, but it really helped me out when I was starting out. I would record my fights, and when I told you that I've made every mistake there is, that's how I get better. I saw it because I had to watch the damn videos, and I'm like, man, first of all, I hate my voice, which you're gonna hate too, but I just learned a lot. Like, hey, I missed that, or somebody did warn me about that, whatever bad thing that happened, or whatever. So I do recommend that you record your fights, especially when you're shot calling, just so you can go back over it, review it, and get better. The other thing that kind of goes along with that is I try to have a debrief after every territory war for me personally, and I try to get feedback, things I did well, things I did poorly. And, most people are nice and they're like, oh, yeah, you did great. But I don't need people to tell me that I did great. I need to know where I could do better. So I really like it when people give me that feedback, because I know that, hey, I wasn't clear when I did this, or somebody thought the wrong thing, and it means my communications, which is one of the topics that I just came from, was not clear. So that's why I have a whole new section in here called communications and name calling. I'm specific when I say I don't do, hey, I need somebody over here. Now, sometimes I will say that because everybody's kind of in a pitch battle or whatever, and I need probably somebody who's spawning, or I'm tied up in the battle myself. I may call somebody, but I try not to, because that's not clear. Because when you say, hey, I need somebody to do this, you might get nobody to do it because they think somebody else is doing it, and you might get 9 people to go over there to do one person's job, and then you just gave yourself a weakness. So I try to do the debrief so that I can get feedback from them, because I don't know what they are perceiving me saying. I know what I'm trying to say, but what they hear might be completely different. Another good thing, and one of the main reasons why I'm glad to see so many people here, and 2, taking the time out to do this training is one of the other more important things you can do, is have backup shot callers. I said I like to do strategist mode a lot, but you can't always do that. And when you can't do that, you got to have backups, because you're going to be in the battle, and you're going to die in the battle at some point. We all do. So you try to have a secondary and a tertiary shot caller. And I usually set them out before. So maybe I would say, hey, I'm going in to this battle, our 15 stack, 20 people, whatever we got. I'm going to be shot calling. I got, Clap Defender and Zuzaku as my backups. So, and I would say that Zuzaku's secondary, and then that way they immediately know what's going on.
I got a question on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, this is probably more of like knowing your shot callers, but how do you avoid clashing your shot calling with the other shot callers, so to speak?
If the primary calls the calls, and then the secondaries again, it's different for every house and alliance and even stack, probably, as far as like how they want to nuance their things. I don't mind if people call a few things out. Like, for example, let's say I say, hey, Suzaku and Babalu. That's a cool name. Babalu is going to be my example from now on out.
Thanks, man.
Babalu and Zuzaki, you guys are. I need you to go over here and take that wall. And halfway up, you're climbing. You're like, dude, there's 7 people here. I'm not doing it. Okay. Now I may tell you, hey, I need you to go up there because I need you to tie them up. So do it, and then you'll go up there and you'll get clapped. So defend against it. Yeah, I did that. And then that might allow us to swing in and push in through another entrance. So I don't have a problem with getting immediate feedback on something that I might not notice. Some people just want you to do what I call, and that's their training style. And I'm not here to say what's the best way. I just know what's best for me. So to answer your question, when I'm shot calling, and let's say you were secondary shot calling, I'm going to call everything out. And even if you're my second, or if you're just some person that I've never grouped with before, and I tell you to do something and it looks dumb because of whatever, like I'm turning the corner and there's whatever, I don't know. Like, for example, the climbing the wall and there's 7 people there. Tell me. And then I'll be like, oh, I missed that. Thank you. Back out. Don't die. Or, yes, tie them up. Last as long as you can. We're pushing. So I don't have a problem with that. And then when I die, then immediately whoever I put as my secondary, that person is going to have the same calls that I would do. They would take over. And then tertiary and so on. And God willing, all 3 of us don't die at the same time before our 2 minutes are up.
I think one of the things where the stack leader, squad leader, stack, whatever you want to call group leader, we use everything, don't we? Where they come more into play is pre-battle. So if you're defending, say, I don't know, I'm going to pick Bixie off the top of my head. If you're defending Bixie, there's 15 of you in there. You've got 3 stacks. One's on short breach, one's on the long breach wall, and one's going to be on gate. The main caller will have told you which group's going where. So you'll know who you've got in your stack and what units they've got. So you're going to have that pre-placement of who's doing this, who's doing that. So each stack leader will have their people positioned ready because you've already had that conversation. And then that allows your primary shot caller to just call the whole battle and help with anybody that's mustering in after. So that might explain a little bit around sort of stack leading as well.
Hey,
Ex-soldier, can you turn your mic off, brother? Or mute? Please.
okay.
Do you mind if I interject right quick?
Yeah, we got to get.
Yeah, I'm gonna meet him right quick.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime. So super quick. I've been playing since beta. I've had a lot of experience here in not New Dawn, sorry, in Conquerors play. Many all of the seasons, I guess you could say. I've been in every single region. I've seen many different types of play styles. I've seen many different kinds of shot calling. And the best one, out of my personal experience, I'm not saying it's the right one. Everybody's their own person, right? But the best way to do it, right? And I'm about to put the links in here too. Plan ahead. There are maps out there, and there are sites out there that help with the strategy of it, right? You can go in, you can see the map, you can plan ahead. And when everybody, especially those newer players that you got coming into your house that, might not know these maps as well as we do, they need that visual aid. So coming up with that plan that we all know, but they might not know, and that it would help visualize that, right? So I'm right now in the training chat, I'm posting 2 links. One is Strat Sketch, which it hella makes makes the maps look very, very good. Makes it look very clean and very, you understand where you need to go if you do it, via squads, via stacks, via however you do it, right? However you shot call. So I just want to put that out super quick. I can definitely help and teach on that aspect if you guys need that. I don't know. That's up to you guys. I don't want to interrupt too much. Sorry.
No, that's fine. That is a very good point. And maybe for an advanced class or later on we can go into more stuff like that. Because, yes, going into battle, you should already have a plan. And that way everybody knows the right troops to bring and things like that. That's more of a strategist. For that matter, you don't even need to be a shot caller to be a part of that. This is more specifically in the field once you execute something, and these are very good examples that he's actually posting. So I would definitely check those out.
Yeah, it's really good for Strat Sketch is really good as well when you're trying to explain people about movement through from X through the home point or whatever, because it allows you to ping it exactly the same as what you were showing the guys in the real-time map. You can actually ping on there, so it is useful.
If you have a good understanding of what you're about to go into and you have that base, like, okay, hey, this squad needs to go left side, we need to take down that breach, or this second squad needs to go take the walls, interrupt those guys trying to set up artillery on that left side breach, right? Because they know, for example, on the map that I just posted, this is hella hard to both attack and defend, actually, if you do it properly. Um, so you have to be aware of that going into it. You have to know where artillery placement is. You have to know what walls to push up, when to push up, and that's all on the shot caller. There's a prime example. I forgot where it's quoted from. It's probably fucking that one book War. To zoom. Anyways,
Sun
you
Tzu.
can plan all day, but as soon as thank you. You can plan all day, but as soon as you make contact with the enemy, that plan's fucking out the window sometimes. You really have to improvise. You really have to be able to see the flow of battle. You have to be able to go, okay, these guys aren't doing what I thought they were going to do. We need to improvise. This squad will now instead go from the breach to the gate because they're all at breach. They left gate open. We're going to go through gate and we're going to take advantage of that and then rotate. Always remember, rotation is important. You have as a shot caller, you have to be able to sit there and move people. If you have to call them out individually, don't be afraid to. Do not be afraid to. You have to be like, hey, Sea Raider, go left side, go right now. Like you got to get up that wall and go up there, and they'll be confused, but they'll do it.
Can
And
I
that
say something real
sometimes will
quick?
change.
Sure.
Yeah, what's up?
Knowing your enemy is only half the battle when it comes to TW. That's what I would say. Knowing your enemy is only half the battle. The other
Okay.
half is pretty much everything C Raider said. Planning and stuff.
So, yep, I agree.
Sorry.
I agree with the planning and all that other stuff, and he just accentuated the positions and rotations and momentum and things like that I brought up earlier. Hang on, I got a cough.
How do you handle when you're shot caller, but you're also having to boot people out of a match if things go foobar? Is that a need for a second, or do you just handle it as it goes?
Basically,
The
like
best
from
way-
my. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, from my experience, if we have people who are rotating into the war and they do not have the siege engine, we need a siege engine. We need a Treb, for example. We need something else that someone else has to bring in. It's not personal. You just literally say, "We need this guy in. Can you either back out or I'll boot you?" You just be really smooth about it and ask, "Who has no troops? Who's out of troops? Who can I move out now?"
Yeah, that
Kind of
right.
deal. Yeah.
That right there is the best. Let's put it this way: I've shot called since beta, and I've booted people 5 times my entire time that I've played the game. Other than cohorts or other people joining in on our battles, and one of them was because we were slow rolling and we were capping. That's most often why I booted somebody. So it almost never happens. If I need something for some reason where I need somebody out of the battle, for example, they're running around with a green unit, etc. We've got a queue and they've got a blue unit, or I need a particular siege, as was just mentioned. Then I'll say, hey, I need you, that person who's either got no unit or whatever the situation may be. I usually call it cannon dive. It doesn't have to be cannon. It's any arty dive or whatever. You go and you dive over the walls and either way, attacking or defending, you jump over, you go way deep into enemy territory and you try to kill a siege and then they kill you.
I was gonna say a common thing I see as well in TWs is people are afraid to die, if that makes sense.
Well, that's not to do with shot calling. You could
Fair enough.
Yeah,
And I
more
mean,
on players than shot
that's why
callers.
you're, in a sense, a shot caller, and that's where shot calling and gameplay can make a difference. I mean, I'm not a shot caller in Fire Nation, but I've been vocal with people who are either in my group or people who are by a wall. If you're vocal with people and you start to make the first move, other people will follow you. Not everyone. Not everyone's going to come with you. Some people might still be hesitant. But if they see a lot of new players or people who are tentative, if they see other people or people who are taking charge doing that and actually leading that, then they might be more inclined to follow you if they're tentative. So that, I mean, that's another part of, yeah, you're a shot caller, but you're also playing the game too, right? So, if there's someone above you, say like Coffee's in and I'm like a third shot caller or some shit, like why not lead and say, you know what, I'll go die with these guys just to get them moving, just to get them going.
Yeah.
All right. Does anybody want to, any of the other shot callers or anything, have any thing that they want to add that I might have left out or that they think is important? If not, I'm just going to review all the things that I went over.
There's one thing that we do in Fire Nation. I'm not sure if it's across houses, but I just wanted to mention it.
Yeah, go for it.
So Kayla had mentioned how it's great how when we have our stacks loadout, like you know who's on your team, you know where they're supposed to be, you've called it out and everything, correct? Like you have your 5 and they are positioned exactly how you want them. Now let's say one of those people dies. In Fire Nation, we try to say, for example, we try to ask our soldiers, not necessarily our shot callers, but all of our soldiers to say like, say I'm watching Breach and I've got impikes. I would say, nut out on Breach with impikes. That allows the next person who's loading in to be called into that position in a very formal fashion. Say, we need you to come to Breach with impikes, for example, or with, some sort of infantry unit. That just allows it to be a smooth transition where we're not like just bringing in some random person with random troops to a random position that's not necessarily fortifying. So I just think that's important to as a shot caller clarify with your people who you're leading that when you lose your soldiers to know where the gap is and how to fill it.
Yeah, I usually do the same thing. I do it a little bit differently, but the effect is the same. Usually, whenever somebody comes in, first thing I ask them is what unit they have, and then I tell them where I want them.
Yeah,
Same thing, just
that's
different
yeah, that's a
methodology.
perfect way to fill that hole. Okay, yeah, thank you.
Yep. So, and that actually did trigger something that a memory that I did also want to bring up. So, to me, a shot caller is going to have at least 15 people. Yes, you can do cav squads and run 5s and stuff like that, but you're going to have at least 15 people. You're not going to micromanage everybody. It's not fun for you. It's not fun for them. So what I try to do is I try to think of them in blocks, for example, and I do it by groups. So and it really helps out because a true attack stack is going to have 25. That's what you need to be able to push a well-defended city. So that's 25 people, which is 5 groups. So it's so much easier to say, Zuzaku's group, Nuts group, this guy's group, this girl's group, whatever. Refer to them as group, and then everybody knows who the group leader is, and those 5 people know that they are that group, and then it just makes it so easier. And the thing that I started doing that I didn't do early in my shot calling career was write it down. Write it down. Write down the group names.
Facts.
So you're like, who's got the damn group? Oh, I'm an idiot. I can't tell you how many times I've got sticky notes and I throw them away every territory war. But where I say, for example, Callow's group, and then usually what I'll do is for example, every time I attack, this is just for me shot calling. Every time I attack, I'm going to put Fortebracios in front of off to the side of the gate, even when I'm attacking, because I don't want them to sally out and get the supply point when we're pushing hard on the walls. So I'm always going to have that there. I might even have another one at a broken wall, depending on what we're doing. So I'm going to say, hey, who's got Fortebracio? And then whoever that person is, I'll find out what group they're in, and then that's the group that's going to be at that point. Whatever. So that is my style of play. You guys can do your own, and I'm not saying it's the only way to do it, but the important thing that I'm really trying to get across is write down your group leaders. That way it's so much easier. For example, okay, we won. Now, do we need 25 to defend it? No. So I could just say, hey, you 5, you're going to defend this village. You 5 are going to go over here because we can hold this with 15 until we can buy time for everybody to get back in. So,
Can I?
yeah, go ahead.
Kind of going exactly what. Can I show something really quickly? I know that you're sharing your screen, but I'm gonna try and. This is what the Warriors have been doing, going directly alongside with kind of what you were talking about. We keep a running list basically of everyone's units basically for TW. And they all kind of fill it out on their own, and we have group leaders, and we try to keep the groups similar from TW to TW, so that everyone can kind of mesh together over territory wars. So basically, this is just one of our stacks. This is our shotgun stack, and this is the group in it. So Yada basically told us what he kind of expects for our defense. And then we kind of disseminated what units we wanted from there. So that's basically just one that I want to show, but it might be worth looking into for if you guys want to do like a Google Sheets like this.
Can you guys hear me?
Will bring us forward so much further. Whole lot of success going into any kind of TW, especially this kind of organized. That's what's going to make us in game. Every house that I've seen that's in game capable, they're able to go for these capitals. That's what we're trying to go for, right? That's the kind of organization that we need. So, yes, planning sucks. Don't get me wrong. I fucking hate it. But at the same time, I love it, right? It's necessary. And for shot callers to be able to understand what's going on with your HR as well, that's what you need. You need HR and shot callers to be fucking knit close tight. Number one, that's how you get to know your members. You know their capabilities. You know exactly what they can do. So whenever you make that call to like, hey, Sea Raider, go over here, you know that they're able to do that. You know they're able to go and make that push because they have the units, because you've seen it on the HR spreadsheet. So keep that in mind whenever you are planning to make an assault or a defense. Know your players, know who your members are, know what they are capable of, and that's where you will succeed as a shot caller.
So I'm going to disagree just a little bit here, and with not the first part, whereas I think it's important that you work together, but shot calling and strategizing are not the same. They're completely different. Strategizing and planning is done before. It's calm. It's relaxed. It has nothing to do with other people, and it has to do with theories. And the tools that were linked, as far as being able to make cool maps and all that stuff, is absolutely wonderful, and that takes hours of practice, and it's wonderful, and it's very important. Same thing actually, where and Fire Nation does a very similar thing. I don't know if they have a spreadsheet that.
Oh yeah, we do. We got an Excel spreadsheet. Yeah.
Full unit breakdown.
Yep. So, and yes, building stacks and like this unit and bring that unit, all that stuff is all very important. None of it has to do with shot calling. It's completely indifferent. Now, yes, executing the strategies and all that other stuff is very important. And if that's something that a lot of people want to get more into, then I think we should have a whole nother training on it if that looks like it's a topic that people want to get into. But as far as real quick, I'm just going to go over the kind of a review. I try to keep my training in under an hour because it's a game. We're trying to have fun. To be honest. So I'm just going to go through the points, and then at the end, I'll ask for some feedback. So we talked about all the click commands and how to do that. By click commands, it's the Z, the go here, and clicking all those things. the positions and rotations, and then momentum. So being able to line up your troops, and then we talked about attacking light here and focusing where the enemy isn't, and rotating back and forth to find the weak spot. And then momentum, once you do get that weak spot, to push forward and be aggressive and get them before they get set up at the next point, if you can. We talked about the importance of communications and comms in general, as well as what I call name calling, which is using specific people. So just to kind of go over that again, for example, if I wanted Zuzaku to go on the west wall to help out Talamir, I'm going to say that. I'm not going to say, hey, I need somebody to help over there, because that's about as bad as it could be. And then at the end, getting feedback is important. That's what's going to get you better. I talked about recording yourself. That helped me a lot. Also having a debrief at the end of the territory war, just a couple minutes. It doesn't have to be specifics, and you can do it another day if you really wanted to, if somebody's got some detailed information for you. But, just what is there? I used to try to do a thing called start, stop, and continue, and I wanted people to give me one of those things. Hey, this is something that a start would be like, hey, this is something we should try. So we should start doing this. Or, hey, we did this, I didn't like it, we'll stop that. Or, hey, we did this and I liked it, let's continue. So start, stop, and continue. That's the kind of feedback that I like. And it makes it easier and kind of pinpoints it. So getting information to you as far as the good and the bad that you did, that way you can do better. We talked about having backup shot callers. Like I said, I like going 3 deep, so primary, secondary, and tertiary. Again, I'm just going to go ahead. Write down. I'm going to actually add that. I said there's 2 really important things that if you only take these 2 things from shot calling, this is what I hope you take. I'm going to add a third, and that's write down the names of the group leads. You don't necessarily have to write. It's helpful if you write down every person that's in that group, but definitely write down the group lead names. That helps you out without having to think and ask questions. So that's my one thing out of the 3. Sorry about that. So, and then the other thing is make the call. If you make the wrong call, that's fine. You're going to learn from that call. But if you don't make the call, then you're still going to do, that's still a mistake, but you're not learning anything from it. So make the call. Whatever that call is, whatever you think the best choice is in that situation, make that call. When it gets executed, you can go back through, you can watch your video, you can get feedback from the players, or you can just see with personal experience, hey, that didn't work out at all. And then you learn and you become better. Anybody got any questions? Anybody got feedback of any type or anything?
I don't like your call.
I figure overall, just got to be concise so you don't over-rotate your own team by saying someone go here. Right?
Correct. Yep.
Quick question. So, if you make a call and I disagree with the call, do we just, if I'm the secondary shot caller or the primary, do we just play along until it plays out, or should we speak up and be like, hey, I think that's a bad call? Because obviously this is all in the moment, so time's very crucial.
Yep. So good question. And for me, whoever's shot calling first, that's their call. You could, for example, I gave you the example where you're climbing up a wall. I send 2 people to climb up a wall, and there's 7 enemies up there. You could say why it's a bad idea. There's 7 enemies up here. I was like, yeah, I need you to tie them down. So you got to climb up the wall and last as long as you can. Because what I'm trying to do is maybe in that particular situation, if it's 2 versus 7, that means we've got an advantage somewhere that I need to exploit. So I don't have a problem with feedback in the immediate. And like I said, that's different for every shot caller in their situation. Maybe houses have a different thing. But for me specifically, yes. Whatever the main shot caller makes the final call, everybody goes with it.
Just one more thing to add on to that. I mean, we have had instances of that happen early on in the season at different points in time, and I think, again, it depends on house to house and person to person, but for the most part, it's just how you say it. It really is how you say it. If you phrase it the way Talamir was saying, hey, there's 7 guys up here, whatever, it comes from a place of you're making people aware of it. If you just start shouting, fuck that, that's a dumb idea, I'm not doing that, or you start arguing, that's a stupid-ass call, I don't know why, it's not, it's not constructive, and then that's when comms go to shit, and then you're kind of a part of that. So I'd say at least from my experience with Fire Nation, like you can go ahead and say those things. Just don't, you watch how you say it. Don't be, like that's just a dumbass call. Don't get too stressed about it. Your primary is your primary for a reason. And you can point shit out, but don't get too heated about it.
Morale is really important to a whole group. Like if you start just bumming out, being a downer, just an ass, it just brings everybody down. It's super like depressing. Don't do it.
Yep. Good feedback. Does anybody have any other questions?
I got a comment though.
Yeah, go for it.
Alright, so I wasn't here the whole time, so I don't know everything that was really said in specific, but
Holy shit, I could barely
Oh.
hear you.
Yeah, you're real quiet.
Yeah,
do
Phoenix,
I
you're.
gotta scream for you motherfuckers?
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah.
Alright, bet. So when Tyler was saying don't hesitate to make a call. Make a call. Whether it's good or bad, make the call. Make sure you make that call in complete confidence. You got to be confident in yourself, because if you display any type of doubt, no matter how quick you respond and how quick you make your call outs, that will trickle down to everybody else as well, because we can feel when our shot callers have doubt. We can feel when they're confident, and that confidence from a shot caller is going to boost everybody's morale. So make sure you make your calls with confidence.
Yeah, good. And I'll even add on to that and say when you make the call, not just with confidence, but calm. A good calm, okay, I understand that everybody just wiped. Let's get over here and just make the next call. Set up, defend home, we'll recover, wait our timers, and go again. So, yeah, I agree with that. Any other feedback or questions about anything? Okay.
Just a comment, I guess.
Sure.
This is real quick. It's don't be afraid to die. Don't be afraid to sacrifice. Everybody needs to basically, like for me, because I'm very much support minded, and like even in like RPGs and stuff like that, I play as a support character. So in my mind, if I go and die, okay, cool, no problem. As long as I am helping as much as I can.
Yep.
And I think that everybody needs to kind of. I've just noticed that a lot of people in Warriors or Fire Nation or even New Dawn, which is now Warriors, we kind of seem to want to try to, kind of play it like a siege when it's not anywhere close to like that. And
Yeah, that's
that was
definitely a conversation to have with like every member of the houses. Like it's not necessarily just a shot caller's duty to take that upon themselves. That's a general general rule. Yeah.
Well, and I think that just goes back to what I said before, which is like, I mean, obviously,